Okay, well done,
Hey,
guys. Okay,
Hey, Crypto King, can you tell us if you can hear DeFi Master? DeFi
DeFi Master.
Master, can you do a mic check?
yeah,
Uh,
mic check.
Hey, welcome Billy, welcome Dr. Flo, Crypto King, welcome DeFi Master.
Hello, how
Thank,
you doing?
hey, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so very much. I'm happy and it's such a very great privilege being here.
Oh,
Thank
we're honored. So yeah, welcome to DreamFi. We're going to be doing an AMA with GemEarn today. We've got DeFi Master and Crypto King. And yeah, I've started recording. Do you want to go ahead and get us started, DeFi?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
yes, yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much. And as I said earlier, it's a very great privilege being here. And then I want to thank the admins of this great platform for giving us the opportunity to create awareness about our projects to the community at large. And also to my colleagues here from the dev team, DeFi Master. It has been an awesome journey, coming all the way off getting to this stage that we are. And we are definitely going to take the project as we've promised and also as we've determined from the very onset of the project. My name is Crypto King, and from Africa, West Africa, precisely. And we'll be diving into the GemEarn properly. So,
Awesome.
hello.
Great. Thank you for that. And are you the owner of GemEarn?
Oh, yeah, GemEarn, uh, we have almost up to 7 to 8 persons in the dev team. So from my own hand, I work with an online marketplace. That is basically the experience that I have, and I think I'm bringing this experience with the rest of the dev team to uh, make the project a success. But my own contribution is on the aspect of project advisor.
Okay, awesome. And can you introduce DeFi Master or DeFi? Is your mic working?
Okay. Hello, DeFi, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. I can hear you.
All right. DeFi Master has been a friend of mine, and we have been in crypto space for quite some times, and it has been awesome. It has been a very cool-headed friends. In times of a rock pool, we've been there together, and he has been a very good person that I can vouch for. And he also have a lot of experience in mobilizing people for projects, and also uh, just like the way he has been a collab representative of GMN to your platform as well. So this is basically what he has been doing, and that is why we have him in the team, because I think he's very specialized in this aspect as well.
I was just answering some questions in chat. We've got a nice little audience in chat. Yeah, they need to come over to the main stage, however. Okay, do you want to give us a really quick rundown on how the project was started, who started it, um, like who was the first member, and that kind of thing?
Okay, all right. How GMN started, we have a very large community of persons. I think African investors. We are like about 300 persons, and as times goes on, we invested in a lot of projects, and on the long run, the project we invested money in turned out to be rock pool or abandoned project and what have you. You get what I'm saying? So, and 7 to 8 of us, we decided, hey, we can do great things, we can implement a great project and also make people to have trust in the dev team. We have a lot of projects where you have clear roadmaps, you know, having the dev team spending a lot of money for marketing, but the intentions of these dev teams aren't clear. It's not just good enough to have a great project. What are the intentions of the persons behind the project? So these intentions are mostly one of the major factors where we have project failed, right? So, but on the aspect of the GemHen, we have our dev team. We have been friends. We invested in projects together, and we put in resources together, put in innovations together, and we decided we can do and we can sponsor and at the same time develop a very great project based on our areas of disciplines in our daily activities. And that is why we've come together to bring out something innovative that will benefit our world at large.
Can you tell us a little bit about the charity leanings of the company and where that came from and why that's so central?
Okay. Now, thank you. When you're looking at charity, basically I'm from Nigeria and from West Africa. Basically, when in past few years, like 5, 6, 7 years, when you visit hotel rooms, you visit lounge, or you visit most club areas, right? You're going to see charity organizations coming in to distribute condoms, coming in to distribute uh, pleasurable materials to the adults, you know. But when I look at this kind of charity or philanthropic efforts, so I'm looking at these are materials that are meant for pleasures, right? So if I want to get pleasure, I should be able to spend money on what I want to get for my pleasure. But on the area where we should be looking at is the upcoming children, right? The children in the underdeveloped nations, as well as the consequences of having so many out of school children on the street. So we have these things common within the African region, within the Asia's continent, and let's take for example, when you visit some high schools, right? We have female students who couldn't afford sanitary wears. Just imagine a female student at the age of 16, 17 going to high school. She couldn't afford sanitary wears. And as a result of this, at some specific times of the month, she won't be able to go to school just because she couldn't afford tissues and sanitary waste and what have you. So
That's
we
terrible.
can extend our charity or philanthropic efforts or outreaches in this aspect, rather than buying condoms and giving to the adult who is already a working class in the community, who doesn't care about the children on the street. So this is why we center charity as the most important aspect of this project. So, thank you.
I was just reading an article about charity today. It was very, very interesting. It was a person who worked for the UN, and what they did was they went into a poor country and they were giving books to anybody. It was basically they were just giving away free books, thousands and thousands. And the person writing the article found out that when they had first moved into the community, when she was working for the UN, there were already two bookstores. And a year or 2 years later, when they stopped the project, uh, both of those bookstores had been put out of business, which was a very interesting. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
All right. I also run a charity outreach for a particular church here in Nigeria. And one of the challenges I think the charity outreaches or the philanthropic companies having in this part of the world is the real materials given to these orphanage homes or the people, the displaced person, is that most of these materials doesn't get to the right persons, doesn't get to the right end users, because there's always companies who are in between the UN and the people. So let's say, for example, they send in 12 dozens of sanitary wares. What the people will receive is just 2 dozens, while the rest are being seized by the middlemen and will be sold into the market. So what we're going to be doing in GemEarn is that there isn't going to be any middleman. So we will be the ones in taking these materials to the rightful owner, rightful needed people. So if we are sharing food, we will ensure we are the one representing the GemEarn community and also the less privileged who needed these materials. So with this, we'll be able to break the barriers of the misappropriations of these materials.
So you'll actually be handing the things personally.
Yeah.
How many people are on your team, on the ground? I don't mean your Discord team, and I don't mean the software team. I mean, how many people uh, are on the team that you have with the church there in West Africa?
Are you talking about the GemEarn or are you talking about the outreaches I held for the
You're,
church?
The
the outreach
outreach.
you
The
have.
outreach.
I can't hear you.
The outreach.
The outreach. Now, what I'm saying is the outreach I had for the church, these are just individual persons who put in resources together and they delegated these responsibilities to me to get these materials to the rightful and needed persons. So now that I'm working with GemEarn, and based on the experiences that I had from these organizations, I will be able to channel the right course of this charity outreach in a very perfect manner that the people will receive the material sent by the community of GemEarn to these persons. That is what I'm saying.
JPEG, did you want to say something?
No, I had nothing to say.
I thought that I heard you say something. Um, how many people are in your congregation?
The church congregation is a very big congregation, like the one I have in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Here, we have about like 1,500,
Wow.
1,000 people. But the congregation, like we have what we call cell system, right? Maybe if you are used to some church terms, we have what we call cell system, like outreaches. So like the outreach where I belong, I'm the head of the outreach. So I have like 250 persons. So most times quarterly, we used to visit the motherless home, orphanage home, and send relief materials to the IDP camp in the far north Nigeria. So getting these materials, reaching out to the rightful people who are in need of these materials, is one of the most important things. It's not just sending money or sending relief materials to this person. The relief material you send, are these people really having access to it? If you send 1 carton of sanitary pad, are they the one receiving the sanitary pad, or the schoolmasters are the one receiving this sanitary pad? So my responsibility is to ensure that the people who need these materials are the one that have the first hand in receiving them. So, and that exactly what I'm going to implement. And I've already spoken with the dev team. In the dev team, we have 8 persons in GemEarn dev team. So this also is going to be a very great concern as we are building up the project.
When is your pre-sale?
Presently, we are on private sales. So when we get the private sales done, one of the things we'll be doing with the private sales fund is KYC, right? So we want to do KYC and also push in more marketing and the development stage of the project, which, because without the lack of funds, there are a lot of things that we won't be able to do or get done properly. So you don't want to bring it out and have big projects. So, but presently, what we are doing is private sales. So after the private sales, we go on with KYC before the pre-sales.
Of course. Now, how long is private sale going to be running?
Okay. Presently, we didn't have an estimate period of time for how long it's going to last, because
Right.
the ad cap of the private sales, we put it to be 65 BNB, while the soft cap of the pre-sales, we put it above 20. So if it's 20 that comes first, if it's the hard cap that comes first, we're going to hand it right up and move to the next stage of action.
Okay. And what are you at now?
Presently, we are still on the private sale. And
Right. But how close are you to meeting the minimum cap?
still far. Still far.
That's understandable. The market right now is
Yeah.
pretty dead due to the global economic crisis.
Yeah. Well, what really happened was there is a particular marketer we got. So he said he loved our vision. We had a voice chat with him and he fell in love with our project. So he demanded payment before he would definitely get started with our project.
Ah.
So we paid him. Immediately we paid him. In the next 24 hours, we couldn't find him in our server. So he left. And the community became so worried that why is so persons not in the platform? And we were able to tell them. And I believe that was one of the things that created feud on our servers, because the guy left and we paid him. We paid him 1 BNB. So that aspect was one of the things that make the community look like, hey, what is happening? Where is the marketer? You know, but we make the community to understand that there's nothing happening within the dev team. You know, the marketer is not part of the dev team. We employed him to get things done. And he became active in the community, and all of a sudden he left. And that creates some fault, and we have been trying to instill the confidence of the community in our project that we hire, and everyone is still running with the project.
That is completely understandable. And it's funny you say that because Caraway and myself had a conversation earlier about how scamming, how professional scammers just like that have been becoming more and more prevalent in the space. You know, they come in saying that, hey, we're a professional advertiser or ad company. They give you the whole spiel, the whole selling thing that makes the most sense. They seem as professional as possible. They give you good examples. But then they go ahead and bullshit you and take your money. And I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. That is
They
very
often
unfortunate.
tell you that they love your project. They say, "We love your project so much. You know, we want to work with you so bad. Therefore, pay us money." And sometimes they disappear. Yeah, I was talking to a guy that happened to. That happened to me on a very small scale some months ago. I paid a guy to do some marketing, and he didn't. Basically, is the whole story. Uh, it's tough. So yeah, we feel for you.
Oh, thank you. We just have to move on and keep developing. And I believe with time, we'll definitely get everything done and we'll move forward.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your tokenomics?
Okay, the technomics of the project. And for now, we haven't, based on the white paper, have you gone through our white paper?
Yes,
Yeah,
he has.
yes. Yep.
Yes, we have.
So we're going to be having a 1 billion to supply. And from the private sales, we're going to be having 50 million of our token for private sale. Then the pre-sales, we're going to be having 300 million tokens, which is going to be 30% of the total supply. The private sales is going to be 5% of the total supply. Then the team and the dev team will only have 5% of the total supply. So which is definitely be 50 million token, and it's going to be locked for 1 year, right after launch. So the charity is just going to be 0.5%, not even up to 1%. Then at launch, we're going to burn 20% of the total supply, which will result on the 200 million token, while the rest 39.5% will be added to the liquidity.
Now, what is the purpose of the burn at launch? Why not just distribute that 20%, equitably?
Okay, basically, I would have loved the supply to be just 1 million. You get what I'm saying? But it's not just all about what I want to do. Is what are the technomeans that people love out there? The people out there, what do they love? So I've been in project recently, and I've seen a lot of things people demand for, the request they made, right?
I
Like,
understand. I understand. Yeah. I do get it. I was not to cut you off, but there was a project recently and I commented that, they keep burning tokens, but they hadn't even launched yet. And it's like you're saying, it's there are people out there who like the idea of burning tokens, and so it's marketing. Um, uh, isn't that what you're
it's,
saying?
it's
I get it.
the kind of marketing and creating maybe FOMO and just making the community to be active. And I think since people love it, why shouldn't we put it? You know?
Absolutely right. 100% correct.
And I'm just
Oh,
reviewing your tokenomics. So you have a reflection, 2% buy reflection, 4% sell reflection. Do the charity tokens reflect, and does the team and dev tokens, do those reflect?
from the taxes, we have 9% buy from the taxes.
Right.
Okay. And from the 9%, we're going to be having 5% for marketing and for reserve funds, and which will be converted right immediately for BNB. So this is how the contract works, right? I was in a project, I don't, maybe Ice Bag, maybe Ice Bag, maybe you can
No,
remember.
I
What
never
they do
never
is,
did iceberg.
okay. So what they do is the reflections and the marketing reserves comes in the local token, and the dev will have to sell. So there is always a constant selling, which also drain the chart. So it's always causing an alarm, like who is selling, who is selling. You have people from different parts of the world, and the understandings of people are also differs because of kind of locality where they come from. So it brings questions: who is selling dev, who is selling? So in order to bring this kind of unnecessary questions and make everyone feel good and everyone understand what is happening. So once you sell, 5% out of your sell will be converted into BNB or BUSD from the contract. So we are not going to receive the local token into our reserve. No. Once you sell, what we're going to receive is BNB. So there won't be any need for the contract to keep selling to get marketing funds or reserve funds. Do you think you can understand that? So that is how we're going to get the marketing and the reserve funds. And we also have the liquidity, which is 2%, and we have the GemEarn token reflections to the holders, which is in 2%. So the same thing goes to the sell tax, which is 15%, marketing, which will be in 5%. So from the sell tax, there's going to be an automatic burn of 3%. So liquidity will have 3% this time around instead of 2% from the buy tax. So the reflection this time around from the sell is going to be 4% instead of the 2% from the buy tax, because we have 15% from the sell tax and 9% from the buy tax. So, but the most important thing is making the chart look healthy. And that is why the 5% will have to be in BNB or BUSD. At launch, we're going to conclude on that. So just to keep the chart healthy.
Okay. Now do the marketing and reserve funds, now do those reflect or are those static?
I didn't get that question, please. Can you come again?
Sorry.
You said the marketing or the reserve fund, did they get reflect?
Yeah, do those specific funds reflect or are those static?
Okay. Now the marketing funds, right? The marketing
Right.
wallet is
Yes.
basically going to be from the buy and from the sell. Because from the technomins, there isn't a marketing wallet, there isn't dev wallet. So from the constant buying and from the constant selling, that is where the reflections will keep coming into the marketing and the reserve fund.
Excellent. Because they're going to be held specifically as
Yeah,
BNB or BUSD.
yeah,
Of course. Now that it's good that we get that clarity because I know a lot of people will see that it's a reflection token and they'll automatically assume, even before reading the white paper, in most cases, not even reading the white paper, that the marketing, like that any funds specific to the developers and specific to the project itself outside of what the user gets, they assume that it's going to be the native token, thus reflected. So it's good to make that distinction.
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure everyone understood that. So thank you.
Everyone understand it, yeah. So basically, presently, what we are definitely looking at is getting the private sales done, and we have some kind of uh, individuals or communities that get KYC, and at the same times, the KYC also tends to promote the project. Do you understand? We have some KYC
Yes.
companies that, they only have 2K members. We have some with just 1K member. But when you go for the bigger KYC company, probably having 100,000, 50,000 communities, this will create the kind of exposures that the project should have. And for you to get that kind of company, it definitely cost money. But it's best of the dev team and the community at large for us to get the best. To get the best, we also make the project to be exposed to the best community as well. So it isn't enough to just get KYC from a roadside company and what have you. So the main purpose is to make the community feel at home, make them feel safe. The right document will be submitted. Whatsoever that will be requested will be submitted, and at the same time, it will tend to promote the project as well to a larger audience. That is just the scope behind it.
Right. Now, which group or company do you plan on KYCing with?
Okay. For now, I think the dev team have been trying to see how we can contact the Obsidian Council.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we are still, because recently I have one of the dev team who contacted them, and
Yeah.
they were like, based on the recent happenings of some projects, not meeting up with the standard of the company. So they try to add some extra security cautions. So they
Oh.
said, yeah, that they will probably get back to us, because what they did was they increased the fee. No, they increased the fee to scare away the fake dev team, to scare away, uh, you know, bad projects. But what most of these projects does is they don't mind paying any amount of money to get the KYC done, just to attract their investors and the community to buy into the project. So what they said is they're trying to see how best they can secure their community and their investors. So as at then, they said they will probably get back to us. But we decided immediately after the private sales, we contact them back again. So, but I believe by now I have not been in talk with uh, the particular person from the dev team, because I think next week I'll be getting married. So I'm probably busy with
Oh,
some activities.
congratulations.
Whoa,
Congratulations, man.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
That is
So
fantastic. Hey,
mm,
now how long ago was it that you applied or even reached out to the Obsidian Council?
okay. I think that is towards the ending of May. I think should be something 28 or 29.
Okay.
20.
Because we reached out to them, funny enough, we reached out to them, um, what are we in? We're in June now. I believe the beginning of May, either
Okay.
the first or second week of May. And we haven't heard anything back, oddly enough.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I reached out to
What,
them
what,
before that even. I'd reached out to them um way back in April, something like April. it was one of the first things I did when I started DreamFi. I wanted to contact the Obsidian Council and find out what would be needed. What would be needed for a KYC, possibly an AMA, or any other thing. And
No,
they're busy.
okay.
Anyway, um, that's okay. They're very difficult to. Now, are you guys prepared to get a KYC somewhere else or delay the launch until you do get one?
All right. We're trying to look out for a very active community where we can
Yeah.
get KYC. So presently, when we presented that to the community, when we were building up, everyone loved the idea. And that is why we extended the private sale ad cap to 65 BNB. So if we are able to get that 65 BNB from the private sales, we can get the Obsidian Council KYC. But if
When
we if we're able to get into the soft caps, we can definitely look for alternative, and which I believe will be discussed within the dev team. Because presently, the kind of people that I know, or the kind of community that I know, they don't have the kind of vibe in the community that can project the project out to the world. Just like when you do auditing with Celtic, you can't get that. You can't get the kind of exposure from anywhere else. So that is just the scope of ideas. But from the dev team, we are still brainstorming to see the current or the most active KYC company out there.
yeah, there.
Okay.
Go ahead, JPEG.
I was going to follow up with another form of auditing aside from social auditing would be contract auditing. Now, have you guys already planned out which company or group you will be going with for the contract audit, or do you already have the contract audited?
Presently, we haven't even developed the contract. So
Okay.
we already have someone in the dev team who is specialized on that. And he also tried to bring in two more experts in developing the contract and also in review. Because I want to say this, if you know this project called Collect Coin, you know, I invested in Collect Coin during ICO, and I think they raised over $2.5 million during ICO.
Woo!
And
That's crazy.
$1 million was put into the liquidity. And 12 hours after launch, the liquidity was drained by an hacker. But the contract was audited by TechRat. Is it TechRat or kind of something? So they developed the contract themselves, and they sent the contract to TechRat for auditing, and they did the auditing for probably 21 days. So to me, the kind of people who
Hello?
You broke out. Your mic stopped working, Crypto King.
Well, I thought my internet turned off there.
DeFi Master, can you hop in till Crypto King comes back? So oh, there he is. Yeah, are you there, DeFi Master?
can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you again, Crypto King.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is we have someone in the dev team who can develop the contract, and we also have a small kind of company in South Africa who can do the contract review. So once we get the contract out, then we have the company just
He broke up again. It's funny because his connection sounds fine, but it just stops suddenly. DeFi Master, are you there? Well, until Crypto King
Excellent.
comes back, or until somebody comes back, hopefully they can hear me. The only issue that I'm sort of having with their tokenomics, the thing that might give me pause is that the charity portion of the token supply, once that is spent, it no longer is a charity token because the taxes do not go to charity. What I would like to see is more charity tokens, but vested, so that and also it would be nice that if these tokens were already um, bookmarked for the people that they are going to, so that there's a plan, so that the charity tokens. It would be nice to some way to extend the back end. Do you see what I'm saying, J Pegaso? Like, let's say that
Oh, I see what you're saying.
that they sell the 5 million charity tokens at launch, and they get a good price, and that money is well spent, and it's a very successful project. But then at that point, the GemEarn token no longer is associated with charity, right? It's almost like there was a good act to start, but then after that, we're going to have to be relying on um, quote unquote future commercial utilities, right?
Yes.
There's an escrow platform that we haven't yet talked about, and I think that we're a little bit too far off from these things. I mean, we don't have a contract for the token, so I wonder if it's even worth asking, is the escrow service running yet? You know, and why focus on I think you know where I'm going next. Um, let's see, we're getting a DM. Hey, Stefan is
Am
in the
I?
audience. He DM'd me.
Oh, what are you saying?
Yeah, DeFi Master, if you could say a word or two, just kind of chime in, and so we know that you're there, and then
And hopefully he can. Uh, where are you seeing this escrow service? Because maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I'm foolish. Oh, there it is. I am foolish. It's right in front of my face.
There is an
Development of our
escrow
escrow trading
service there.
platform.
There's an escrow
Yes,
service there.
I'm seeing it right there.
well,
Now,
Uh,
well, escrow service is a good idea. Tell us about that.
yeah, I think looking at the escrow service,
right.
it's one of the sure way to secure employer and employee on the crypto space. Because if I'm just like the way we have DeFi Master Book and AMA with your platform, you know, something like this can take place on our escrow service. Maybe probably you charge DeFi Master, for example, $200 for the AMA, and DeFi Master is being skeptical about paying you, and you have been skeptical about granting DeFi Master the requested AMA. So you can make use of the escrow service by DeFi Master booking your service on our escrow service, and DeFi Master will release the fund to the contract on our escrow service. So when we receive a signal from you and a signal from DeFi Master that the service has been rendered, the funds will be released. So we're going to have a little percentage that will be charged for using our platform for that service. So this is one of the kind of things our escrow service will be used for. Just like during the time of our white paper development, the guy that did the white paper, we saw him on Fiverr, and we released fund to Fiverr. After 7 days that he made the completion of the white paper, he signaled Fiverr that the job is done. And we also signal Fiverr that the job also is completed, and the fund was released to him. So it's a kind of bridging the trust between employer and employee on the crypto space. So that is what kind of the escrow service is for.
And
Okay.
when are you guys going to build the escrow service. And where is the funding for that going to come from? Is that from the 5% team and dev token?
Okay. Now, from the funds for the development of that, at the initial stage, one of the things that we have, which is the uh, from the reflections from the 5% and the other one from the marketing and the reserve fund. Basically, the reserve funds, few from the reserve funds will also be used for development. But before this fund will be used for development, the community are going to be aware of anytime we're going to be taking funds from the reserve funds. And we already have 3 individuals or 3 persons in our dev teams who are ready to create this platform. And once revenue comes after development, things is going to be get sorted out with them. So we already have them in our team. So we are not hiring people from the outside the project dev team to come and build some kind of things for us. So we have people in our dev team that will develop most of these utilities. And with that, we're going to be having uh, less cost in time of development.
Okay, so you said that it would be funded out of the reserve fund, which comes from the taxes.
Yeah.
Is that true? Um,
Okay. Caraway, to answer what you're saying before about the 0.5 percentage for the charity, that maybe when you sold it off for the first time, we're not going to get any money or something. So I want to correct that. On the charity aspect, on the first instance, we are not selling everything off at the first time. Secondly, every buy and sell, there's going to be a reflection going to the charity wallet. So it's like technically every wallet, every holder on our contract is receiving a reflection from every buy and sell. So definitely every buy and sell is going to have a reflection go into the charity wallet, which will keep on accumulating. So there is no how that the charity wallet is going to run dry.
okay, that's awesome. It's
I hope.
just not that's not what's reflected in the white paper. But you're saying that you guys are going to basically change the white paper, right?
Oh,
Uh,
it-
I think during the time, I think where DeFi Master is getting, maybe you should go back and review the white paper. What initially, during the time of development of the white paper, when we hired the marketer, so he said instead of having different wallets where that will receive charity, receive this, receive that, we can bring everything into marketing and reserve fund. So from the reserve fund wallet, we can now tell the community, oh, we are going to so place and we need $200 for charity outreach. And the community votes on that, and we pull out $200 from there for the charity outreach. So that was why the charity reflections was removed from the white paper. So I think DeFi Master, you need to go back and review that.
Yeah,
So
because
rather than
I would like to see it delineated. I do like what you're saying that the buys and sells will continuously reflect some of the tax money into a charity fund. But my gut instinct tells me it would be better if it was a certain amount because um, let's say that the escrow service takes longer to develop. Well, funds could run out. But if you have the charity funds earmarked, then at least they will go to the right place. That's just my thought on the subject, but I'm glad that you guys cleared that up because and it should be cleared up. It should be in the white paper. It should say that some of the reflections will go to charity because I thought that like we talked about, I thought that the charity tokens would run out one day, and then you guys would no longer be a charity token.
Yeah, the idea about the charity, probably developing the escrow service, developing the cultural NFTs, developing the online marketplace might probably take time based on the roadmap. You understand what I'm saying? But the charity, the philanthropic effort is one of the utilities that can sustain the project at a particular period of time, pending the time the main utilities will be developed. Now, we have 5 million token for charity. At launch, we can't sell off the whole token because if we decided to visit maybe probably an high school to provide them with sanitary wares, it might be $100, it might be $200 needed. So we'll probably need to sell a token that we cater for the particular needed resources at that particular time. So if the worth of the 5 million token is $10,000, we can't just sell off $10,000. So what do we need? We need $200. We need $500. So that is what is going to be sold to fit in into the required resources needed for that particular outreach.
So I'm sorry, are you saying that you're just you're definitely going to stick with the one wallet and then sort of dip into it when needed?
Yeah, that is on the aspect of that is why we have marketing and reserve fund. So we have marketing funds, we have reserve fund. So the reserve fund will technically be meant for development. So charity on the long run, once we run out of funds from charity from the technomies of the charity tokens, you know, will the vote from the community, we can dive in into the reserve funds and probably take some funds. Even while we develop the escrow service, there's going to be funds generated from the escrow service. There's going to be funds generated from the cultural NFTs, and these funds also going to be having some percentage from the escrow service that will be going into charity. So that is why we don't have much token on the technomies for the charity outreach.
I see. Tell us a little bit about your marketing plans.
Okay. One of the strategies that we are trying to uh, utilize at this particular time is reaching out to communities, firstly for the private sales. So when we are able to get the private sale done, maybe probably to the soft cap or to the hard cap. So there's going to be an adequate resources to push intensively our marketing strategies. And one of it we want to do is, from my own hand, reaching out to smaller groups, on the Africa crypto communities, because we tend to see that most of these communities, uh, they tend to hold token for a very longer period of time. So while we have the other persons from the dev team who will be reaching out to the to marketers from Europe, and that is why we hired the other guy from Europe to be our marketing head. But that is once the guy failed us, and now we have to reach out to the smaller communities, and from there we reach out to the bigger communities. But what we need to be done presently is the private sales, because the private sale will definitely equip the dev team with funds to push marketing aggressively and also the necessary development at this stage.
I like what you said about contacting these smaller African crypto groups. One of my uh, team members at Fear versus Greed, um, I don't know if he owns it or if he just helps run it, but he is running a what they call a co-op, and this is you may have another word for it, but people in a community pool their money together. I think every week somebody goes around and collects the money, and then people take turns sharing it. So, for instance, if you're in the co op and suddenly you have um, a medical bill, the co-op will help you pay it. Have you um, have you heard of something like that?
I haven't. The one I know seems to be different from this.
Okay, so you've never heard of any kind of like community fund of that nature where people it's like a community insurance fund almost, but it's run privately, not centrally. It's
Okay.
they're usually very local. You know, it might only
Okay.
be 20 to 50 people uh, participating.
Mm. Oh, it's nice, but I haven't. There is one I'm into, but that is different from this because what we basically do there is we are investors who invest in signal and future trading. So after every successful trading, we set up funds for some some kind of funds to help the community members. But I think that is different from what you've said.
Well, I think it's in the same vein. Um, anyway, if there's anything else that you guys want to say, if you guys want to make some sort of concluding statements, we're coming up on the hour mark. So yeah, take us away. And if there's any questions from the audience, I think we're at the sort of the last chance to get these in. Crypto King, if you want to say some concluding statements.
Yeah, what I would just want to say is to thank you very much for using your platform and your community to support us at this stage where we basically need this particular help that you've rendered. As we get bigger, and we're definitely going to be very appreciative later on in future because at this particular stage, it's so difficult to see a communities or individuals or persons that will render this kind of help. I'm so grateful to your community and to your dev team and to everyone in your community as well. So thank you so very much. I love you basically, and I will definitely be in touch with you in your chamber as well.
Thank you so much for saying that. And thank you guys for being here. No, we're happy that we could give you guys a platform. Um, uh, DeFi Master, are you there? I always ask him to.
Oh,
I
that's
always,
pretty cool.
I always ask him to talk, and he
Yeah.
unmutes his mic and then doesn't say anything. That's okay. I think that he's having some technical difficulties, to be honest. We just want. I just wanted to say thank you for being here, DeFi Master. That's all, and ask you if you wanted
No
to say
problem.
anything before we go.
Um,
Yeah, I so much appreciate, like my team member said, we so much appreciate the platform you give to us, and we look forward to being here maybe one more time again. And so we also use this opportunity to inform the community that our private sale is live, and we're looking forward to get most of the investors on to help support the project. So we really appreciate you guys.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Absolutely, man. God bless.
All right.
thank you.
Thank you guys for being here. Have a great day. Okay. And by the
All right.
way, I'll get you this YouTube link very soon. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
And you too.
Take care, guys.
Take
Thank you,
care.
man. See you in general shot, man.
That's right. See you in
Thank you guys.
general.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.